Alright, this is lab 6, Magnetic Molasses. So the purpose of this lab was to investigate eddy currents and magnetic induction by observing how a falling bar magnet is affected when dropped through a copper tube. For our observed time, we got 1.59 seconds, and our computational time was 1.43 seconds. So for concepts, the first one is the Biot-Savart law, which measures the magnetic field at a certain point on a moving charge. And next is Faraday's law, which describes how a changing magnetic field through a loop induces an electric voltage or EMF in that loop. And then finally we have F equals ma, which describes the relationship between the force of gravity and the magnetic force on the magnet. So for our experiment, we dropped a magnet through a tube and through an aluminum pipe, and then we measured the time it would take for the magnet to start from the top and exit out the bottom side of the tube. So for our data, our magnet had a mass of 0.03 kilograms, and then our mu is roughly 1.5. And then for our tube, our length was roughly 0.3 meters, had an inner radius of 0.026 meters, and a width of 0.031 meters. So for our results slash interpretations, the magnetic dipole falls, or the magnetic dipole moment opposes the force of gravity, which provides an upwards force that slows the magnet's fall. And then when we flipped the magnet, the same concept happened, but since the dipole moment flipped, the current is also flipped. And our observed time is slightly longer than the time recorded, likely due to factors, our observed time is slightly longer than the computational time, likely due to factors like air resistance or the magnet hitting the side of the tube on its way down. And then for what if, so the first what if is what if the resistivity of the conductor were reduced as close as possible to zero? How would the dynamics of the falling magnet change? So the induced current would be larger, so the magnetic force on the magnet will be greater. So there's more upwards force and thus slowing the fall or even preventing the magnet from falling. And then the next what if holes or slots were cut in the tube? How would this affect the ring currents in your model? So there would be less current and then less upwards force in some areas. And then less upwards force means the magnet would fall faster because there's less force to counteract gravity.